What's up YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and today we will be doing a $500 Loomis quarter box hunt. I was able to pick these up from one of my two local Wells Fargos on Friday. None of my orders came in, so I was a little bit disappointed, but luckily they had a box, and it does look like a nice circulated box. This hunt will be part of our Hunt and Fill series, so stay tuned at the end because we will be doing a deep dive and a close-up into all of those books if that's your thing. But with that said, I'm looking forward to this hunt, so let's jump into it. So before we start opening rolls, I did mention the books, and I wanted to show off the books we were talking about. So we've got the American Women Quarter Book from 2022 to 25. We're only missing a couple of quarters out of that. We have the 65 to 87, which is complete. The 88 to 98, which is complete. The State Quarter Deluxe Book, which means this has both the Philly and the Denver for all states. This is complete. And we are missing, I think, just one quarter out of our National Park Quarter Book. Like I said, I'm going to go through and open these up, and we'll do a close-up look at all of the holes that are filled so you guys can see that if you're interested at the end of the video. So with that said, the one coin we are looking for is the 2012 Denver Minted New Mexico Quarter. I'm going to go ahead and just open one roll here on camera so you guys can see it come out. While I'm doing that, if you guys want to look down below this video, I do have a document in the description that is the checklist that I use for all of my hunts, whether it be quarters, nickels, dimes, pennies, or $half. So if you're interested in doing your own hunting or just want to follow along with the finds that we have here, feel free to use that document. It is free to download, free to print, and yours to keep if you'd like to. So what I'm going to do here is I am hunting all of these coins for various die chips and mint varieties and airs. And what I'll do is if I find something, I will be sure to bring you in. Like right here, this is a bicentennial 1776 to 1976 Denver, which is actually in really, really good shape. Hopefully it's coming through on the camera. That is actually in beautiful condition. That coin does have a double die obverse that I've been looking for a very, very long time, and I have just never found one, but we always put our bicentennials on the board as a find, and the really, really nice ones I keep and make rolls out of. The dirty, ugly ones I just send back. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera because hunting a whole box of quarters takes a very long time. And I'll be sure to bring you guys in each time we find something of interest or of value. So we're on roll number 2, and I do have our next find. And it's kind of a minor one, but it's one that I don't see a lot of people talking about. It's on the 2023 Philadelphia Bessie Coleman. You see it right here. Let me get it under the scope for us. This is actually called the Incu's error, and it's down here on the E and C. It's the only place I've found it so far, but you actually see a doubling on the E and the C. The C is very, very minor right here, but the E you can see is poking way out here to the left. I know I actually sold one of these on eBay quite some time ago, and I want to say I got like $15 or $20 or $25 for it, something like that. But the E was way out here. It was almost touching the N, and the C was way out here too. So there's definitely different versions of this out here. I've covered this on previous videos, but just something else that you should be looking for in your hunts. We're on roll number 9, and we have our next find of the hunt. It's been a little bit slow. This is the 2023 Philadelphia Bessie Coleman, and I haven't put it under the scope because you can see this giant die chip on the upper part of the biplane without it, but we'll take it over there just to show you how big it is under the scope. It's right there though, so let's back out and have a look. There it is. None of that's supposed to be there. So big die chip on the biplane. So we're on roll 18, and the quarter I actually want to show you, I've already got under the scope. It is a 2022 Philadelphia Bessie Coleman. And the first thing I wanted to point out is that we do have a very small die chip here on the coin, but that's not the main reason I wanted to bring you in. It's because we have another Incu's error, and this one looks very different than the one before it. But you can see here we've got a double E. The E's kind of hiding in there, but it's there. And you can see very, very strongly we have another C hanging out here. So actually it's almost a triple C. You can see kind of another C down here. There's a C behind it, and then there's the main C. So This is a pretty good NQ's error here. If I can find some comps for this specifically, I'll throw them up on the screen. I have no idea what that'd be worth, but that's kind of an interesting NQ's error. So same roll, just a couple of coins later, we've actually got another die chip error, this time on the 2022 Philadelphia Mankiller error, and it's a die chip here in the hair. These are really, really common. They're becoming less common now, but when this first came out, I would find tons and tons of these in a box. So many so that I would typically just pull one or two and leave the rest. But under the scope, just if you want to see it up real close, let's have a look here. There is a little channel right here in her hair, and there is a bunch of extra metal that's left in there. So that's the die chip. We are on roll 20, and we have come across the first find I'm kind of excited about here. We have a San Francisco proof quarter. Now, I know this is a proof rather than a business strike because you can see kind of the reflection coming off of this coin. Proofs are struck differently than a typical matte coin or you know, just a circulated coin. The details on it are frosted. You can see that in George Washington's head, and the detail in the hair is absolutely amazing. So this is a San Francisco proof. Let's see which one we have. It is the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter proof. That is pretty cool. I don't find a lot of proofs. I do find a lot of San Francisco business strikes, but the proof is just a little bit nicer, and I'm going to flip that up, and it'll definitely be going in my collection. Well, this very same roll towards the very end, and we've come across another find. It is the Homestead quarter. I believe it's the 2015, 2016. I always forget, but I do know it's the Homestead. It's the 2015, and it is one of the DDR, so double die reverses. It's a very minor one. You can see this window is doubled right here. And VarietyVista.com is a great place to go to look up various varieties. They cover, I think, just about every major U.S. coin. And if I can find this exact one, I will go ahead and throw it up on the screen so you can see which DDR it is. I don't see any snow on the roof, and we don't have any leaky bucket, but we definitely have a DDR. So we are on roll 28, and I have come across my first New Mexico quarter in a good long while, maybe my second. I've been through a lot of boxes lately and have not seen this New Mexico 2012. I need the Denver Minted to close out my National Park album, at least the second series. The first one's been done for some time. Let's check it out together. And we finally have it. So I'll be able to punch this down and close this book out in the finale here, in the recap of this. I'm actually pretty excited about it. I may not sound like it, but I've been through a lot of boxes trying to find this last quarter. So when we do the deep dive into the books, I will go ahead, we'll punch this down and see what the fully completed book looks like. We are on roll 33, and we have our next find. We've got ourselves one of the 2008 Arizona quarters. Let's see if I can get the focus right on this thing for you. It is going to be one of the extra cactus errors, and I can't tell if this is like a larger die chip or maybe this coin just has some wear on it, but let's get it under the scope. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Too far. There it is. So the extra cactus error is where we have die chips that actually come down and cover up the, I think it's JFM initials. And normally you see like one big die chip here, but it almost looks like this one has just expanded. This looks very different than most of the ones I've ever found before. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still just a die chip error. So, you know, again, not worth a whole lot of money, a buck or two at most, I would guess. Unless this one is different or special, because like I said, I'm used to just seeing this kind of little chip here, or kind of a full chip, and there's a defined line between this cactus and this die chip. But this looks like one big piece. Perhaps it is just worn down and it was separate chips earlier in its life. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We are on roll 42, and the most exciting find of the hunt just happened here. This actually came up reverse facing, and I had to flip it over to see this, but was really excited when I did. We have that W mint mark. West Point quarter. It is got the V75 privy over here on the side, and that tells you that it is a 2020. And like I said, I've already seen the reverse, but when I flipped it over, was just so happy to see it, because it's been a couple of boxes since we have found one. But there it is, the 2020 Salt River Bay. And these are actually more valuable, especially if they're in reasonably good condition, more valuable than silver quarters today, unless they're numismatically relevant, right? If you find the right year with the right error, of course, those can be very expensive. But just like a standard 1964 silver quarter, these are worth more today. Typically anywhere from about $10 up, depending on which design is on the back and the condition. So I love finding me some West Points, and that's going to go on the board as a find. We're on roll 48, and we've come across our next find. It's actually on the front of the coin, but I just wanted to show you which one we were talking about here. The 2005 Kansas has something called the In God We Rust error, and it's where there's a grease strike, and you end up missing a couple of letters in there, typically just the T, to make it read In God We Rust. I'm going to put this under the scope so you guys can see that while you can still make out the letters, this grease strike's pretty good because we're missing more than just the T. You can see the O and the D are a little bit faint. The T is almost gone under magnification, and so is the R. And so this would definitely qualify as the In God We Rust. I would even call this the In God We Ust error. So if I can find some good comps for this, I will go ahead and throw those on the screen. If not, it's been a while since I've looked these up. I think just the T missing was still worth a couple of bucks. So hopefully this is worth more than just a buck or two. So we have reached the end of the box, and I want to do the wrap up pretty quickly because I'd like to get over to the Series 2 books to get that last coin punched in and just show you the overall state of the coins. But really quickly to wrap up, we had that one really nice W, Salt River Bay. Of course, we have our final National Park book filler in really, actually pretty good condition. We had that one San Francisco proof. It was the 1999 New Jersey. We had the extra cactus error. We had a couple of little die chips in the hair on the 2022 Man Killer. We had that DDR on the Homestead that we looked at. We had the Kansas 2005 In God We Rust error, or in our case, the In God We Ust error. We had a bunch of different die chips on the Bessie Coleman. I didn't bring you in. I actually found two of these towards the end and just didn't bring you in because they were just minor. But we found the die chip up here in the hands. I don't think they're worth very much. But if I had to guess, the one where we had the big die chip up on top of the biplane, which I think was this one or this one, those would be worth probably the most of all four of those. Of course, we had the two NQs errors that were down on the EC initials, and we had 5 Philadelphia bicentennials and 5 Denver bicentennials, all checked for the DDO. None of them have it. I'll keep the nicest ones of these and toss the rest back. So with that said, it was a pretty good hunt. We had I think 22 finds, if I didn't say that already, which is pretty good for a box these days. And anytime we find a W, it's a win. So let me clear these off and let's get the books out and take a quick look at what they look like. So apologies here, but I'm probably going to cut a couple of small little videos and splice them together because it'll just be easier to do that way. But here's our 1965 book. If you guys want to have a look at those. And not all of these are phenomenal quarters. They were the best representations I had at the time. Every now and then I do pull coins to upgrade. But lately I've just been so focused on finding W's, finding proofs, finding valuable varieties that I don't really spend too much time looking for, like a random 1978D upgrade, right? But here is the last page of this book if you kind of want to get a close-up of these quarters. There you have it all the way through 1987D. So let's get into the next book. So here's our 1988 to 1998. And remember, these are the Series 2 books. I have another whole set of these that I've filled out during this Hunt and Fill series. And it's because I have 2 kids. I figured if I was going to do this, I may as well make a set for each child. And the coins are of similar quality between the 2 sets of books. But here we go all the way through 1988. And I do think it's a darn shame the way these books are made because, we have all these empty holes. This whole last page, if I recall, if I can get my finger in there, is completely empty. And while you could fill in the 80 or the 98, 99, 2000, etc., there's another whole book to house those. So you're almost encouraged not to fill those empty holes. So this is the Warman's State Quarter Deluxe book, and what I do like about this one is that it does have all the way up to 2009, and you get Philadelphia and Denver in the same book. A lot of the Whitman folders that were produced, you had to buy a set of Philly books and a set of Denver books, and I'm going to do my best to show this whole book here, but it's quite large. But here we go. Hopefully this will all stay in focus, and you can see how they did everything. So 99's here, and you have P and D of each coin, which was really nice. Then, of course, we move on to 2000. 2001 here for the first page. Here's our 2002s. 2003 and 2004. And I think we've got 2 more pages to look at here. Trying to get it all on camera for you. There's our 2005s. 6s, and 7s. And last but not least, and these are probably the crummiest ones that I have, these 2009 quarters were kind of difficult to find. Some of them were in pretty good shape, some of them less so. So when I do come across a really nice 2009, I do pull those and check them for upgrades because I just don't get a lot of 2009s, and I'm not going to say these are the best quality coins. So this was the National Park Quarter album, and I'll say this is my favorite album. I wish that you could get from 1965 on in books like this. One, because it's kind of foamy, so the coins pop down really easily. I like the design. I like that it's colorful. It is a little bit awkward and unwieldy to open and show to people. But I also like it because it does Philadelphia on the first 2 pages and all Denver on the last 2 pages. So I'm just going to kind of come down through here so you can get an idea of the quality of the coins. But this gets us all the way up through 2015. Moving on to page 2. There's our 2016s, 17s, 18s, 19s, and of course our 20s. And then the 21, it stopped, I think, with one of the airmen, and I went ahead and did the crossing the Delaware as well for my empty hole to punch down. And then our last coin that we have to put in place is right here. Here's our 2010s, 11s, and there was our one lonely 2012 Mexico. And if I can get it to focus, show it to you one last time. There's my 2012. We definitely have the Denver. Let's go ahead and get it punched in. And you can see that foam, it just pops in so nice. I really do like this book. They come out okay as well. I know a lot of the other books that once you poke them out once or twice, the holes kind of stop accepting coins. But here's our 2016s, our 2017s, 2018s, 2019s, 2020s, and of course I did the same thing by plugging in the Denver crossing the Delaware. The other thing you'll notice from filling these books is Denver, just the finish on their coins is so much nicer. They're almost proof-like, quite frankly. They're just really, really beautiful coins. So I know my Denvers, for the most part, typically look better than my Philadelphias. And we have our last book, the American Women's Quarters from 2022 to 2025. Now you can tell these books were produced before they knew what all the coins were going to be. And I do still need to just pick a random 22 Philly and Denver just to put in here to show the front. Although it's just the weird looking George head with a P or a D on the front. But here's our Maya Angelou's. We've got our Sally Rides, our Man Killers, our Oteria Warrens, our Anime Wongs. And down here you can see I am still hunting for some Denvers. And by the time we got to the Kanaka Oles, and actually even the Bessie Coleman, they didn't know who they were going to be. So they just say Honoree 1, Honoree 2, so on and so forth. So I've got nothing in this page. And this might be my Series 2 one. No, this is actually my Series 1 one because I've been able to put one of the Eleanor Roosevelts in here for Honoree 2 for the Philadelphia. But the rest are all empty, and you can see they just name them out all the way to 2025 for Honoree, right? So anyway, that is the Women's Quarters book. This is what they look like, and all of these look pretty good because these have been pulled in recent years, and they all look pretty darn good. And there you have it. We are at the end of the hunt. Hopefully you guys enjoyed taking a peek into the albums and could see what the quality of the coins were. Now, I did record this entire video in 4K, which I normally don't do. I normally do 1080p, hoping to give you guys a little bit better look at the quarters. That said, I've just learned my iPhone doesn't focus quite the same way as it does in 4K as it does in 1080p, so hopefully the video turns out okay. If it doesn't, I apologize if there's some blurry bits, but hopefully it also just gives you a better look at the quarters that I went through in the book. Overall, this was a fun hunt. I love it when I do a quarter box and find lots of stuff. You may have seen in a couple of recent videos we've had very few finds, and that does get frustrating for me trying to make content for you guys. But I just want to show you that if you are out there coin roll hunting, it happens to all of us, right? We have our good hunts and we have our bad hunts, and we have to cherish the good ones when we have them. So with that said, if you did enjoy this video, please do consider dropping down below and clicking on that like button, and leave me a comment while you're down there. I'd really appreciate it. Any interaction with the video, whether it's a like or a comment, helps the search engine push this thing up in front of other people, which increases the viewership, which is really what I'm going for here. I mean, I want to entertain all of you, but I also want to entertain new people. So, and honestly, teach new people. So please do drop down below, click that like button, and leave me a comment. If you're new to this channel, if this is the first time you've watched this and you want to see more videos like this, I have playlists of all my old videos, and you can actually go back to the very beginning and watch me start to fill these books out. There'll be a playlist link down, not below, but it'll be at the end of the video you can click on. And make sure you do click on that subscribe button, and then click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I do release a new video. I'd really appreciate it. Special shout out to all of my channel members. Thank you for the support you give each and every month. It means a lot. I'm trying to think, what else can I tell you? I've got a nickel box coming up that I got to hunt. And hopefully we'll get some $half this week, because our order didn't come in last week. So looking forward to hunting some $half next week. With that said, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.